Hello and welcome to Africa Speaks. It's been a week filled with very interesting hashtags across the continent, like Someone Tell South Africa and Someone Tell Kenya, made for a very hilarious read that is on Twitter. However, in Nigeria, Bring Back Our Girls resonated with the over 200 girls abducted in northern Nigeria and remain missing. Now, an appeal to have them brought back is highlighted in Web City. Kenyan Traffic Corporal Linda Okello has been the talk across East African headlines on social media, radio, television, and international media like the BBC. Reason: she wore a very fitting outfit while on duty during a motorsport rally. The outrage that spread like a storm on social media, specifically Twitter, has brought questions to the fore about whether or not police officers are allowed their basic rights and how often they are issued with these uniforms. Hashtag Kenyans for Linda on Twitter saw comments like Kevin Jabedo asking, so male cops can have their pot bellies sticking out, but Linda Okello can't have a tight police skirt? And at Gabriel Oguda appealed to the Inspector General of Police, Kimayo, saying Kenya is watching you on this issue. Approach it with decorum that befits your status. At Ferdinando Mondi adds, if Linda Okello gets more than a memo, it will be the hate of hypocrisy and male chauvinism. And Rosebel K says, good to see Kenyans for Linda Okello. We need to stop using a woman's body as a battlefield. And well, it has been a social media vibrant week, I should say. Now, the saying, spare the rod and spoil the child, is one most black people believe in. And in this video you're about to watch, a mother in Trinidad and Tobago, to give her daughter a lesson, she actually spanked her, and her daughter was 12 years old, for posting nude pictures of herself on Facebook. Take a look.
That everything you say, regardless of the truth or false, to believe. So the idea that you are sending on Facebook, those for that picture you're sending, does encourage the wrong kind of responses that I do not want. For you, how old are you? Tell them how old are you? After 12 years old, stand up. For man to tell you, the pocket bill and the one to pocket put the phone fire there. Raise the name, call the name. Pocket the jury, the one to know the jury. Come. Let them see how big you are. Say that they get a car. You got a sudden man. From your pocket book. Your book. Pause for them. You pause them? You don't get me taxi pause? Huh? I didn't sign up on Facebook for that. You understand that? It's a social certificate. These people, you can't fucking people. Come here. Come here. And you put them on your ass up in the air. Please, I take it. Please, I take on. When he said, that's how I wish it. Submission. Come here. Where he never get? Justin. You Justin Timberlake. So you're fucking Justin. Get it? For fucking number. You know fucking number. You want to know number. Come here, then. Stand up there. I never make nobody for nobody number. Who you want more of it? Nobody. nobody. But I see on Facebook you went mall. No. Takisha? Takisha? Didn't she hear that you want? She might have one. She might have one. Just send. I can tell you fucking off. Go more than one. Come here. Come here again.
Well, there we go. And we should say maybe that is how majority of African mothers, try to discipline their daughters, at least to get them from wherever they're going wrong and put them back on track. And that is just one mother in Trinidad and Tobago. But then if you come back down to the African continent, majority of mothers can admit that they've done the same, just trying to discipline their children. Now, on to a story of one personality that we are about to speak to in studio. He grew up in Kibera, that is Kenya's Kibera slums, and at the age of 17, he left the country and went to the United Kingdom. And today, he is one of Arsenal's youth coaches. And but even he's the only one. That's what makes him even more interesting a personality to know about. He's Africa's only youth coach at the Emirates Stadium. Let's just take a look at part of his story, and we'll get right here to talk to him shortly.
One day I said I'm going to sweep Emirates, but I didn't know which way I'm going to go into it.
Coming from a young boy who was born and brought up in Kibera, dreaming of ever setting foot at the Emirates Stadium seemed as a tall order to many, but Abdulghani Adan was determined to make it happen. He played for Kibera-based teams including Mwenge FC and Kibera Hamlets before taking up a volunteer's job in Kibera that eventually would be the bridge to his Emirates dream.
I went for a tryout, and the scouts there, they were foreign scouts. I didn't know what they were coming for, but they were from universities in USA. And grateful for one, Bobo Yugi helped me get my papers, and so I went there on a football scholarship.
His passion for sports, however, could not be contained, and the finance degree he obtained in the United States was not working for him, and so he took a leap of faith and moved to the United Kingdom, where he took up a sports management course as well as a part-time job as a steward at Newcastle's St. James Park before stumbling on what turned to be his final journey to the Emirates.
I just saw something online in London at Arsenal, and wow, I was like, this cannot be real, this is my team. The guy who interviewed me, my boss, he told me he's never given someone a job on the spot because he just saw where I came from. And
he's fresh from his first assignment in Sierra Leone as a national community coach, and he will be heading to Hong Kong in a few days. His visit to Kenya is supposed to be time off coaching, but he's instead spending every second sharing his expertise while inspiring a group of aspiring footballers in Kibera.
I like the energy, Apple.
With their hopes for financial breakthrough fully tagged on football, the few players like 17-year-old Sad Mugabe, who has had the privilege to interact with Adan, the sessions may have been few, but the lessons are priceless.
Hizi vitu hatuna, at least amekuja nazo, naona watu hata wameimprove, watu wanaweza cheza ball, open up nini.
As Adan heads back to his Arsenal duties, his desire is to transform Kenyan communities in his own little way, with hopes of finally setting base back home.
Hey.
And that was Lynn reporting for KTN Africa Speaks, giving us a profile of Abdulghani Adan, who is now in studio to speak to us about everything football. If you notice on your screen, the hashtag Football Africa, and we're just here to talk much about, football and what our African youth, do they even stand chances of playing in the international games? Now, Arsenal Football Club Academy are the youth team of Arsenal's football club. They currently play in the Professional Development League, the highest level of youth football in England, and the club enter the under-18 and under-16 teams in the league, but they operate the academy for boys from the age of 9 going upwards. Some of the senior members of the under-18 team also play for Arsenal reserves. And in studio today, we have Abdulghani Adan, Africa's only youth coach at the Arsenal Emirates Stadium. And we're using the hashtag Football Africa. Abdul will tell us how he's made it this far, and your questions to him can be directed under that hashtag Football Africa. Thank you so much for joining us in studio. It's such an honor, you know, to have somebody from Kenya or someone from Africa going out there and doing great work.
Yeah.
So tell me about your family background. Were you born here? Were you born in Somalia? Because I'm told you have a Somali-Kenyan background.
Yeah. No, I was born in Kenya. I'm fully Kenyan. I don't know anywhere else other than Nairobi. You know, having that Somali background, you don't have like when people go up country. So my life has been just in Nairobi basically. It's just recently when I traveled around that I saw Kenya, so mine is just Nairobi really.
Right.
And I grew up in Kibera, lived there for 17 years. The only time I left was when I left the country. And we went for a tournament in Sweden, and that's where everything started. And yeah.
So what schools did you go to before you turned 17? Did you study in Nairobi schools, or
Yeah.
there were schools somewhere around your neighborhood?
No, I studied in Nairobi. I went to Olympic Primary School. That's just in Olympic near Kibera. And then for my high school, I went to Lenana School. And upon completion, that's when I got the scholarship to USA in Missouri, St. Louis, at Lindenwood University for 4 years. And then
What did you study?
I studied Bachelor of Arts in Finance. Yeah, and upon completion, I didn't feel like that was my line. I was always thinking about sports, and I'm a sports person, and that's when I took the leap and went to England, started fresh, and tried to follow my passion.
Right.
I went to in Newcastle. I saw this course. It was a unique course because in America you could find sport management, but that one caught my eye because it's like international sport management, and I just looked at the details and the courses. They focus more on the international aspect, and I was looking for that.
Great. So you did international sport management, and after Newcastle, after doing this course, was it a postgraduate? Was it a master's?
It was an MSc.
It was an MSc.
Yeah.
Great. And then after that, what happened?
After that, while I was studying, I was doing part-time at Newcastle, and I got the lowest job available. But I was doing it, you know, with my eyes open. I was just looking at the people who were managing the place, and I'm saying, oh, this is how they do stuff, because that's what I want for Kenya. We lack that. And I'll come back to that story later of why I've been rushing to get all that, everything. Every time I'm just, you know, opening my eyes and trying to absorb. And upon completion, when I was doing my dissertation, I saw a friend of mine. He was doing the same course, and he told me about the Arsenal thing. Knowing I'm an Arsenal fan, I never missed any games for, I don't know, 6-7 years.
Right.
Yeah, and I applied, and they called me down. First of all, you apply over the net, and then they called me, and that's how I started, and it was a dream. Then I moved to London after I finished school. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Now, just tell me, from the time you joined, and were you just recruited? Were you just hired as a youth coach? And what do youth coaches do anyway?
Yeah, I wanted to clarify that ours was not the ones based in London. They get us and they give us information. Then when the ones who are ready, then they send you out to countries. They have, you know, Arsenal is known worldwide, and so they're trying to touch base with funds. And you find that they have academies all over, not in Africa, but mostly Asia. And in Africa, they try to do social responsibility programs. And so we are the ones who go out to these countries and try to engage with the people.
Right. So you've been to countries like Sierra Leone.
Yeah, I just started,
you know.
So now I'm going to Hong Kong, hopefully, to an academy setup.
Yeah. So you've been the only one going around Africa?
No, they send us, it depends with the type of work waiting for you. On my last task, we were 2 of us. In some countries, they send 8 of them, some 4, depending on the projects they have there.
Okay. How long have you been doing this?
Well, I completed my master's 2013, and that's until now.
Oh, so
So,
2013 up until today.
Yep.
Okay. In case you have any questions for Abdul, you can use the hashtag Football Africa, and we're just trying to find out from him what the future of youth football is, not just in Kenya but across the African continent. Now, just tell me, so far you have vast experience from the time you were an Arsenal fan all the way to your knowledge now in international sport management, and with what you're doing at the moment. What do you make out of the African children, the young boys and girls who maybe have grown up in slums and they have this dream to become international football stars? What hopes do they have? What does their future look like from your observation and your stay out there and looking at the kids back home here?
I'll start by saying with God everything is possible. So if a kid from a slum dreams, he can reach there. But this is my personal opinion. I just say there are people who are at the top, they're not making it easy for these kids down there. And I'll give you an example, like what motivated me. The first time I was on a flight, I was sitting with 3 Zambian players, young, just like my age. We were going for a tournament in Sweden. And you could see the difference between us on the plane and them. And then when I talk to them, then when they talk to me, they say that how they're the best kids in the whole of Zambia, and how they've invested in them, and like companies sending them out and sponsoring. So I could tell from then on that, they're focusing on grassroots, more like, no, Kenya here, we basically look at the, Premier League
The
and all that.
national stars.
Yeah. And leading on to that, when I was in USA, I was watching the African Cup. I know it's not joke. And we're looking at the African Cup, and I said Zambia is going to win because three of those friends, they were in the team, and they went on to win it. That time was like 5-6 years ago, and they won it because they had invested in grassroots. It's never wrong. Once you put the money and focus on the young guys, definitely you'll be close to reach your goal. But every time you try get on the young, older guys, you'll always try the same thing over and over again. Yeah.
Great. Now, I know that there's a lot of people out there who maybe have had dreams to become football stars, not just the kids living in the slums, but all round. And does it actually necessitate one to go to, say, a soccer academy for them to be very good players? Like, is there any formula attached to getting there?
Well, because you're speaking in the African context, we'll just look at the academies that are in Kenya. I don't think there's even not many players come from the academies, so that one rules out. I think the only thing is just the player's determination, and if he really works hard towards that line, he'll get there.
Okay, and someone here is saying, well, this is Ramgi Davis Jatello is asking, does he have a football academy in Kenya, or are you even thinking along those lines of at least convincing Arsenal to think of the same down here in Africa?
Well, I don't have an academy here because I believe, like, if you set up an academy, it's going to be, nowadays the academies that are here, they're financially attached. You have kids to pay, and I'm not giving chance to the kids in the slum. I'd rather go down there and just deal with the coaches. That's my way of doing things. That's how I see it. Like, if I go to Kibera and train a coach, like 5 coaches, I've trained almost 150 kids. And that's my line. I don't think I'm into academies.
Right. Yeah. Okay. And there's some people, of course, who would like to know what you've so far done. You've been around for about 2 months now. Is it 2 months?
In Kenya? No.
Yeah.
For 3 weeks.
3 weeks in
3,
Kenya.
4 weeks,
yeah. And across Africa for about 2 months in general.
Yeah.
What have you so far observed? What have you seen that you think we need to do differently for us to have better players on the continent?
Yeah. No doubt that African players from the young age, they're more skillful. They can do anything with the football, but they don't teach them basics. Like, you would find someone kicking a ball, it just kicks it the way the ball comes, but there's a technique for it. So I think that's what lacking. We don't go into details, but again, that one has a lot of issues around it. You can see that over there, let's say in England, there are many equipments in a field. So that way, you get to train a kid, you improve personally one-on-one. But here you have 30 kids and one football. How are you going to focus on each one of them? It's very difficult.
True. Okay, Edwin Emukule Ochubi is saying, Abdulghani is a confirmation that Kenya has enough to shine wherever. And we also have Jay Subi, who is saying, great story. Abdulghani Adam is a true revelation that Kenya's got talent. Arsenal always nurtures African talent. Well, at the moment, we don't have... Do we have any African players in the Arsenal team at the moment? I don't think so. Not at the moment. And someone here is asking, tell us if there are any Kenyans in the Arsenal youth team at the moment.
It's a big, like there are many departments there, and as we're in the Arsenal community where they send us outside the country, so we don't get to see the youth players in there. Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know if I'm actually allowed to ask a question like this, but it is said that you were tipped to coach the Sierra Leone team. Have you thought about accepting that? I mean, because I'm thinking Kenya should even seriously be thinking of doing that.
I don't know if I think I should say this. For me, getting into Arsenal was not because I'd love to be a coach in the end, but just to see how they do the professional, how they do it, so that I can come and pass it on. I can do it part-time, but mostly me, the way I love football is the same way I love every sport. Volleyball, rugby. I played a little bit of rugby in high school, but the inter-house, but I like the sport, so I'm mostly a sports person.
Okay, there's a lot of questions coming through here. Will you come coach Harambee Stars? We need to go to the World Cup someday. And what should Kenya do to raise its football standards?
I don't think I have plans to coach, I'll be honest, but the only way Kenya can raise its standards is invest in grassroots. I don't know why we always, it's becoming like a song every time they say it, but nothing is happening. Look at examples, the ones I told you about Zambia. They invested in young guys. Right from 9, 10, 11, in 10 years' time, they'll be perfect. And they have the right tools. Look at Barcelona. They do the La Masia. That's where all the players come from. And they do it from a younger age. They don't just come at 18 and pick. So put your emphasis on the young. That's my...
Okay. Football Africa, great to see what Adam is doing. I dream of transforming our football, but there are no opportunities for me. What can I do? And we're also having one that is coming in here from distant relative who is saying, I schooled with Abdulghani, nothing but the best. Well, that's a complimentary tweet there. How is it working under Wenger? Bonus question, does he embody the winning spirit having not won anything in 8 years? This is a very personal question, and I don't know if you're allowed protocol to you're not allowed to talk about Wenger.
No, Wenger. Just anything to do with the team and coach, and ask me about my work. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Sorry.
All right, we'll just skip that. Joe Aguirre is saying, Abdulghani is such an inspiration. Keep going, brother. And all dreams are valid. Congrats to Abdul. Well, there's a lot of people here who are excited about the fact that you are the only African youth coach they're having out there. And let's now get into the part where we talk about people who lack what it takes, or who lack the requirements. Say they don't have the footballs, they don't have the football. Can I call them the boots?
Yeah.
They don't have the boots. They do not have the jerseys.
The field,
they do not even have the field to play at. But then they have the talent.
Yeah.
How can African nations nurture that side of these incapacitated young talent that need to be out there and even have the potential to be international players?
I've thought about this for a while, and it doesn't have to do anything with the kids. It has to do with the people who are, managing sports in a country. They need to do more and give them facilities. I'll touch on the sports ministry. They're planning on this International Sports Academy in Kasarani. If that comes through, then those are the venues. Because if you say an African kid has talent, and then he plays every day in a rocky field, and maybe he gets selected for a tryout, then you go abroad and you do, they definitely see he's the best player there. But then they do the medicals, his knees are gone because of him playing in that rough field. So is that the player's fault? I don't think so. So that's what I'm...
Great. I'm sure that you've learned a lot of lessons
Yeah.
from the time you were back in Kibera, your whole journey growing up. You turned 17, went to the US, and then moved to the UK. There's a lot of lessons that you've learned coming from a humble background and rising to the top. I'm sure at the moment there's so many people who are drawing inspiration from you. But what do you think it has taken for you to get to where you are right now?
I think I always try to get out of my comfort zone. And by now, I think I'm also addicted to risks. So you see something which is impossible. When I was in USA, I graduated with a finance degree, and my work permit arrived. And the next week is when I decided to book the flight to leave. The work permit would have, given me some time to have a good life in USA and start life. But
And how is life in London at the moment, considering what you're doing?
it's nice. I always love the rain. I don't know why, but so it always rains throughout the year.
Yeah.
I love it, yeah.
All right. Milton Nyakundi is saying, nice interview, but I think you need to come out here and help our federation with exposure. And we also have James Ndegwa, who is saying, put emphasis on the young. Well, he's just resonating what you just said. James Ndao is saying, can you set up an academy here in Kenya for the youth or children to nurture their talents? At least can you just front that?
It is possible, but that's not on my, my objectives right now. Yeah, but it is possible.
At the moment, what is your primary objective?
My emphasis now is on coaches. Yeah, if I do anything, it's for the coaches, local coaches. That's how I see it.
Okay. Well, at this point, we're actually out of time, but I wish the interview could continue, or just the conversation could continue. There's a lot of tweets that are coming through. People are now saying, my dream is to see Arsenal play a pre-season in Kenya. Now that you are part of the coaching team, well, that is expected from excited Kenyans and people from across the continent. Ask him to sponsor Gor Mahia. We are crippled, financial constraints, left, right, and center. There we go.
Well, do you have Gor for
Locally, by the way. No, this is not personal. Locally, what team do you support?
Locally, it's Gor.
Gor Mahia. Yeah. There we go. So here he goes, son of Maggie, or at Kevin Obura is saying, please help sponsor the team. It's very crippled, left, right, and center. Maybe also pass on some coaching tips there. Now, well, we're out of time, but I'll just let you say your final remarks and what you think about Kenya, what you think about Africa in regard to football.
Oh, in regard to football, the talent in Africa is immense, and we don't have to every day be complaining, and hoping to make it to the next World Cup. Let's just do things now, and the people at the top also, let's not be selfish, thinking you're doing something for your town. Yeah. Let's try to see, we invest in the future. Nothing wrong. 10 years down the line, you can take credit when you see a team. Yeah, you start it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for speaking to us. We are so excited to have you as the only African youth coach at the Emirates or at Arsenal's camp. Honestly, it's such an honor having you in studio.
All right, thank you.
And there's a last question here. Someone asked, how old are you?
No, I'm 25 right now.
25.
Yes.
Well, that's great inspiration for all of you who are watching. Abdulghani Adan is a 25-year-old Kenyan who is coaching the younger teams at Arsenal's youth camp, and we've been hosting him here in studio. The hashtag Football Africa, in case you have any questions absolutely for him, you can use that hashtag, and let's keep the conversation going. My name is Joy Doreen Bira. God bless.